Hey folks, Maverick Watch Reviews back here with another review for you. Today we have the Seiko ReCraft Solar Quartz Chronograph, model number SSC569. And as usual, we'll open it up, look at the fit and finish, the features and the functions, the build quality, and then I'll give you my overall impressions of this interesting looking solar quartz chronograph from Seiko. But first, I'd like to invite you to become a patron of mine on Patreon. This will allow me to buy a faster laptop, better editing software, and give me a chance to give you a new review at least a couple times a week. At least that's my goal. Make sure you check out my Patreon page when you get a chance. My only commitment level is $3, but you can always give more or less, 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever you can afford a month would be really appreciated. So here you go, Seiko watch box. And as I said in my previous review, I'm not going to even open it up anymore because y'all know what's inside these watch boxes. You have your manual and your warranty card. So there you go. Good looking watch upon first look here. Nice looking watch. Again, this is part of Seiko's ReCraft series. So they're going to have an older look to them. Let's get the basic specs here out of the way. All right. So let's talk about the case. Again, I'm not doing the crown included with the case size anymore, just because it's too much of a pain in the butt. All right, case size, you're looking at 44. Let's do thickness here. Thickness, you're looking at 12.5. Lug to lug, you're looking at 53 lug to lug. Looking at the leather strap here, leather strap is 22. So there you go. And we'll plot all the other specs up on the left-hand side of the screen here. It's 100 meters water resistant, which is 330 feet. You do have the crown over here at 3 o'clock. You've got pushers at 2 and 4 o'clock. You have a date function over there at 4:30. It does have a Hardlex crystal. It does have a tiny bit of lume, a little bit of Lumibrite, and I'll show you that here in a minute. It has the V175 movement, which gives you a 6-month power reserve. And you have multiple different sub-dials at 3, 6, and 9, and I'll explain what those do here in just a minute. So there you go. Good looking watch. It's good looking, and I want to say it's legible, but it's not. The only problem with this watch is the hands are that exact same brushed aluminum look that the dial is. So it takes you a second to see what time it is because everything looks the same. You have those brushed indexes. Actually, I'm sorry, there's a polished indexes. You have the kind of like the starburst dial, and then you have another little edge around the dial that's polished. You got a brushed dial, polished edge, polished indexes, and brushed hands, and it's just all really confusing to look at. This is not an easily read watch, unfortunately. It's good looking. It's just not, very easy to read. Again, good looking watch overall. You got a really nice polished case here. You have a couple brush surfaces where the lugs are, but most of the watch is polished. The pushers are polished. The crown is polished. Everything is basically polished on the case except for the lugs. Again, I like the dial other than the fact that it's not very legible. I like those kind of dark navy blue sub-dials. Those are really cool. Now, the one thing about this watch that really struck me when I first saw it, that if you look at that logo above the Seiko, does that remind you of something? Let me go ahead and put the logo that this is going to remind you of over on the left-hand side of the screen. And I think Seiko is doing a little sleight of hand here, trying to make people think of Bulova watches, the Bulova watches of the 70s. That's why this logo is shaped the way it is. Now, it's not an outright copy of the logo, but God, they look almost identical from a distance. Really sneaky thing that Seiko has done here. It's not, outright intellectual property infringement or copyright infringement or whatever the legal term is for the logo, but it's incredibly close to the Bulova logo. And I'll show you it again here, and I'll get a good picture of the logo right there. And you can see it's like dead to rights. They're basically impersonating the Bulova logo because this is a ReCraft watch, and these are meant to look like, something Don Draper would wear off of Mad Men back in the 60s and 70s. So it's a really interesting, kind of sneaky thing that Seiko has done to kind of make this watch look more like it belongs back in the 60s or 70s. Again, good looking watch. It's just I think they're being really sneaky, with that. Again, implied indexes, brush dial, those kind of real dark navy blue sub-dials. Let's talk about the strap. You have a leather strap here. Now, this is another one of those leather straps that has that that keeper right next to the buckle, which makes, like, if you're a smaller guy and you have a lot of extra strap, it's really a pain in the ass to take that strap and then loop it right underneath, right next to the buckle underneath the keeper. I wish they would get rid of these and just have the floating keeper on all of their watches. This thing is just kind of a pain in the butt, man. But I mean, it's decent leather. I mean, it's genuine leather. But it's just a pain in the butt to use that, to have that extra fixed keeper that doesn't move right there at the buckle. So looking at the case back, nothing exciting. I mean, just really run-of-the-mill Seiko screw-down case back with some information laser etched here. Actually, this is engraved. Nothing to write home about with that. Not a big deal. And that's really about it. You do have a signed buckle. Again, you have two keepers, one fixed, one floating. It does have a chronograph function. And the chronograph function, if you look over here on the right-hand side, that's your 24-hour time. And then these other two subdials, those kick in with the chronograph. And I'll go ahead and click the chronograph. And it's going to be hard for you to even see it moving because the second hand is the same material and color as the dial. I mean, it's hard to even see where the second hand is. You have to kind of shine at the light to get a glimpse of the second hand. So really, for me, poor design choice to make everything silver, either brushed or polished. And it's just really hard to read this watch. Let me go ahead and try this thing on real quick. And normally these are kind of a pain in the butt to try on, but this one's actually going pretty easy. All right, good. All right, so there you go. I mean, it looks good. Again, it's going to take me a second to figure out what time it is. All right, looks like it's about 10 to 6, at least on this watch. Nice looking watch. I mean, this is definitely, you could wear this in the boardroom and maybe on some dressier occasions. Good looking watch. Just kind of hard to read, man. I know I keep saying that, but it's really hard to read, guys. So there you go. And I don't know if anybody's actually going to be using the chronograph function to time any Olympic runners or anything. Nobody ever really uses these chronograph watches for what they're intended for, to be used as a chronograph. I guess you might at some point in your life, but most of the time it's just for looks. I mean, they function as a chronograph, but it's really just for looks. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and cut the studio light here. And let's check out this really minimal amount of lume. And I don't know why they did this, but they did. And I was kind of surprised, actually. So let's go ahead and zap it. And it's pretty dark in here, so we should get a pretty good lume shot. All right. There you go. It's basically just the hour and minute hand and a little tiny pip up there on the bezel at 12 o'clock. That's it. None of the other indexes are loomed. That's it. Just a small section of the hour and minute hand. I guess that's really technically all you need. But I was kind of expecting, at least all the indexes to be loomed. So there you go. There you go. I mean, I like the look of the watch if it was just more legible. And I don't like that sneaky thing they did with the logo above the Seiko logo, which is also silver, by the way. And it's an applied logo. I don't like what they did with that thing. It's just really sneaky, man. Really sneaky. But it's a good looking watch. So I'm kind of torn, man. I like the look of it. I don't like the sneaky factor. And I don't like the legibility being really hard. But the overall look, I do like. There you go. Interesting watch. So there you go. What else here? Now you can get one of these over at Amazon for $240. Now today is actually Prime Day. So you can actually get it for $175 over at Amazon. Now by the time you see this, it'll probably be, gosh, at least Thursday or Friday. So it'll probably be back to the regular $240 price if you go back on Amazon and pick one up. And they have a couple different models of this. And I'll put all those links in the description field if you want to pick one up. So that's really about it. If you like this video, please click on like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I definitely would appreciate that. And guys, that's been about it for this watch. Again, this has been a Seiko ReCraft Solar Quartz Chronograph, model number SSC569. And until the next review, I will see y'all later. Take care. Bye-bye.
I'm like, it was a